Hello, fellow overthinkers, metalheads, and neurodiverse people of all ages and genders. This is Breakdowns and Breakthroughs. I am Chris.
And I'm Mari.
And today we've got a very deep one, haven't we, Mari?
We do. We have two beautiful ladies here with us. They've been through a lot, isn't it, guys?
Yeah, I'm Amy. In July 22nd, 2025, obviously very bad day. We lost Ozzy Osbourne that day. I got diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. A month later, I then had a foot of my bowels removed. I had 41 lymph nodes and the kidney scraped because that's where the cancer was. Cancer was basically going to take my left kidney as well, which was fun.
Yeah.
In October, I then started my chemo, which I was on 8 courses of Cotizapine, which is a chemo drug, orally.
Yeah.
I then finished on the 20th of March, and 5 days later, I then developed clot, which then turned into a brain bleed. That ultimately is labelled as a stroke.
My God. You've had a lot going on then.
It's been a year and a half, let's face it.
Yeah, that's a long and eventful 18 months. Yeah.
It will be about 18 months when I've finished this current course, providing I don't have any more seizures. When I had 3 seizures in 8 hours that day, which required me to be resuscitated and oxygen given, my partner was told I may not make it. My parents were called to say goodbye, but that was now 5 weeks today, I think.
Right.
Okay. And you survived.
I survived.
Yeah.
My memory's not there, but I think even during the time that we last spoke, my speech has really come back on since.
Yeah, I can definitely tell. Yeah.
That's essentially my story. I will let Sally, my beautiful co-founder, talk.
Indeed.
Hello.
Welcome, Sally.
Hello. So like Amy, diagnosed with cancer last year on the 3rd of June. Breast cancer has different staging. It will depend how big the tumor is, plus how many lymph nodes there is. I was deemed stage 3 because of the sheer size. I had a 7-centimeter tumor in my right side, who was called Leroy because at the time we called him Leroy the lump. We then found out it was in the lymph nodes as well, so they became Leroy and the Levi's, and it sounded like some weird band.
It does definitely sound like a band.
But that led to egg retrieval because they wanted to give me that option because chemotherapy can take your fertility. I then had 6 months of intravenous chemotherapy, which finished on the 12th of December. And then I had a double mastectomy and full lymph node clearance of the right side with no reconstruction. So I am the flattest I'd ever been. Then I've still got a year more treatment of a drug that has been described as it can attack the Achilles heel of the BRCA mutation. But without that drug, I could be looking at reoccurrence in 1 to 2 years because of how aggressive the type of cancer I've had. That's weird. Is because my last scan showed no signs of cancer, which is still quite difficult to get your head around because it's like I don't have cancer anymore.
So when you guys were first diagnosed, then what was going through your head at that particular point?
I personally think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. I was 35. Subsequently, I've aged another year. It's not something you really contemplate and take that serious. I think being so young when you have it, you almost think you're invincible, and then it's like, shit. So you worry about your loved ones in particular and how they're going to take it.
That is probably one of the hardest bits is telling people.
Yeah.
You know, my mum came with me when we found out because the entire time for me, they're like, oh, it's a cyst. It could be this. You're too young. So I was waiting for the callback for my biopsy results. And they called me and they said, oh, we've had a cancellation. Can you come in and get your results? And I was just like, my results appointment isn't due until like the 2nd of July. And at that point, I knew something was up. But
Yeah.
I said to my mum, if you can't get the day off work, it's fine. Like, I'll go. And she said, no, I'm coming with you. And she said to me, at the end of the day, the main reason I wanted to come with you is because we kind of had this feeling at this point that it could be bad news. And she said, that way, at least you didn't have to tell me and we can tell people together. I'm so glad that my mum was there, because when they said those words, as much as you can prepare yourself for it, when it actually leaves their mouth and goes, we've got the results, it is cancer, everything just kind of shut down.
Yeah, you go completely numb.
You just shut down and you sit there and you're like,
Is it a bit like when you see in the movies where somebody gets given bad news, such as cancer, and then everything just goes silent, and you can kind of
kind
just
of.
hear a blur or like a
Yeah, it's more, I would say, like, I can't remember the entirety of August. I just remember going to appointments and your whole world revolves around doctor's appointments. I mean, one of the happiest days of last year for me personally was the day I was told it hadn't gone to my liver.
And that's the thing, you're left in this limbo from the day where they said it is cancer. And I kind of looked at them and I said, okay, so what's next? And they said, well, we need to find out if it's spread. And I spent this 2 weeks trying to still have work as normality and think, but I couldn't do it because I was just like, am I going to die? I don't know.
Yeah.
And when it
Yeah.
comes round to family, like that on that Tuesday, mum said, what do you want to do? And I said, I need to go and see my friends at work because they all know that I'm here. So I went to work and I told the work lot. She called my brother and my partner at the time. We called him, we called my stepdad. And when I got home, the first thing I wanted to do was hold my niece. She was about 3 months at the time, 4 months.
Mm.
And I just held her and I promised her that she would still have an auntie, because it's like, I
Oh,
didn't just want to be a memory. And
yeah.
then, as
Oh,
Amy said,
dude,
when
that's making me cry.
that, yeah,
Yeah, it's just that's very
that
emotional.
day, that day when they said it hadn't spread was everything, because
Yeah.
I knew that we could fight it.
Yeah.
The timings of everything, I think in that first month between being diagnosed and starting chemotherapy, I think the most days that I had off in a row was the weekends, because the hospitals don't operate as much at the weekends.
Mm.
There was 1 week we had appointments every single day and we were up and down to London for the egg retrieval treatments. And on the 2nd of July, they harvested the eggs. And then on the 3rd of July, I started chemo.
Mine was completely different because I started my chemo after my surgery, but I sort of went from, like I said, I had MRI scans, like testing whether the benign tumor on my liver was cancerous, but then I'm still dreading this day. Honestly, is colonoscopy day. Which, if you don't know what a
Mm.
colonoscopy is, they essentially shove a camera up your butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the amount of anal jokes I've had from my girlfriend since has been ridiculous. I've had more things stuck up my ass than I'd like any human being. But yeah, no, and it's not even the colonoscopy. I can deal with a little camera up my butt. It's the laxatives, because they
Oh,
tasted
fun.
they tasted so awful. Like, I don't mind shitting myself. I've done it a lot since because it was a consequence of chemo. You know, don't mind doing that. The taste of these laxatives were horrendous. They are literally the worst thing I've ever had in my mouth.
So what I'd like to ask you then, Ames, is you would rather not drink the laxatives than shit yourself all
Yeah.
the time?
I think it's like dying, then having to drink them laxatives is like right beside each other.
Yeah.
You know, they're two
But that's
things
the
I
thing,
don't
the
ever
side
want.
effects are so crazy that you don't expect. It's like 1 minute you're trying
Yeah.
not to shit yourself, and the next minute you're completely constipated because of the drugs you're on, and you're like,
Oh,
which
God.
would I rather?
I
But
know
they've got
what I'd
Would
pills
you
for
rather.
rather
everything.
be too constipated? Yeah.
They've got pills to push it through, and pills to make it solid. Like, they've got medication for everything. It's crazy how many drugs you end up with.
To move on then, guys, Mary, statistics, the relative
Yeah.
statistician from Brazil. What have you got for us?
So Yeah, so we are a podcast that is based on mental health, isn't it? So I want to bring a little bit of the mental health, your mental health during, finding out about cancer. The statistic that I got is just around 1 in 4 people with cancer experience anxiety or depression, and 50% struggle emotionally throughout the process, isn't it? Do you feel that your mental health was affected by, the weight or, the results coming back and everything? How is your experience with that?
I personally, I think the NHS is already under so much pressure. The mental health services in this country are completely broken. They are pretty horrendous, and I think this is why we started Mosh against the Malignant, is because we, as younger people, don't necessarily feel that we have the support out there, and especially being from the alternative community. There's been many a times I've walked into oncology, for example, and been the youngest person, and I could be wearing one of my skinny red shirts, and nobody's like going, "Oh, I love that band."
Yeah, no, I have to give the Macmillan counselling lot their due. They do offer it to you from the get-go. I was offered Macmillan counselling service. But it had to be the one that I was offered was an in-person thing, and I I forgot about my appointments because of chemo brain, or I just didn't feel up to going in. During the treatment phase for me was the easier bit of the mental health side of things, because I was either wiped out asleep or ill or trying to deal with appointments. Now, however, is actually the hardest bit, because to begin with, they told me it wasn't cancer and they were wrong. And now they're telling me it's all gone. So you've been wrong
Yeah.
before. What about now? I've uh, got appointments coming up to discuss. My sleep pattern is ruined. I keep having dreams that cancer's back, or it's got my family, or I see cancer everywhere. Like, my mum will say that she's got a pain in her shoulder and like bone cancer, or
Mm.
somebody's rapidly losing weight. That's a symptom of cancer, it
Yeah.
can be. And it's like
Mm.
this hypersensitivity to any symptom.
There's times as well where someone's told me never Google symptoms, even if you don't know what's wrong. If you've got like a bad stomach ache or you've got a really bad headache that doesn't go away for 4 or 5 days, Google that. First thing that comes up is possibly cancer. So yeah, it's very scary. It's a scary thing to be
I
Googling.
don't think we realised how many symptoms there are.
And it's different for different types of cancer, I guess, as well, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's probably really difficult to diagnose in a way.
I also think the misdiagnosis, like I, for example, was told for years that it was IBS, and
Mm.
you take a doctor's word for it because they're far more educated than yourself.
They just kept telling me it was hormones, or I was too young, or the only symptom that I had was a physical mass. I didn't realize that the fatigue, the tiredness, apparently the mood swings. Even though my cancer wasn't hormonal, like, it was just sucking the life out of me and feeding itself, basically. I had nipple discharge, and I was like, "Oh, it's natural for your age. Your hormones are all over the place. You're 25. You're going to be a hormonal mess." Called 111 because I was having these horrible night sweats, all the rest of it. I just moved into a new place with a friend of mine, and I didn't have a GP. So I called them and said, "What do I do?" And they sent me
Yeah.
to like the same day emergency thing, and at our local hospital. And the bloke, he said, "Oh, I'm just going to feel your left side for reference." He went, "Oh no, that is a bit lumpy, isn't it?" I said, "No, no, no, it's the other one." And then he literally put his hand,
Oh,
wow. And I was just like, "Oh, thanks, I grew it myself." And he didn't know what to do because that's just my humour. He
yeah.
went to fill out the paperwork to refer me to the 2-week breast clinic. There was no age bracket. There was nowhere for him to tick under 30.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
And he walked me from the same day emergency bit to the breast clinic. And he went, "You have to see her." And without him, I would love to find out. I cannot remember his name. I don't know how to track him down. But
mm.
whoever he was, he saved my life.
So you guys are in the midst of creating a charity,
Mhm.
Mosh Against the Malignant. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
So basically, I'm a download veteran. I think this is like my 14th year. I've always found it just a place of love and community. You know, when I was a little teenager, emo, when I didn't feel like no one understood me, it was a place where I felt truly accepted. And basically, you know, every year when the lineup gets announced, there's always so many people moaning. I was just so fed up of people just moaning about the headliners. And I was just like, you know what? I don't care, because I'm just going to go get pissed with my mates, because I'm celebrating get the end of, hopefully, chemo and the end of cancer. And I'm just going to go and have a fun time. And I then posted about my story, and this is when Sally messaged me. You were like, yo, I'm going through the same thing. Like, and we just became friends, and then we just started connecting with other people, and then we were like, hang on, we have something here.
There is definitely something here. In our first week, we got over 270,000 views. Okay, they didn't interact, but 270,000 people have seen
That
us.
is a lot. Yeah.
So we then just kept going and going, and it's just kept building and building, and the momentum is just incredible.
Have Instagram or YouTube channel or something that, you know, people that are listening to us could follow you?
We've now got a team. So we've got Alex
Jim?
and Jim. And Jim built us a website, which is incredible.
Oh,
And Jim also took our logo and put it on a load of t-shirts and stuff. So we've now got merch. It's 100% non-profit. You just pay the cost of the t-shirt, but it's more of a, if you represent us, you can. So we're not handling any money or doing that.
We're not a charity as such. We're a non-profit organisation, because we don't handle any money at all. We are literally just here as a community in a safe space for anybody that has been affected. I mean, the stats are 1 in 2 people are going to get cancer in their lifetime, meaning that even if you're not going through it, you definitely have a loved one or a friend who has fallen or are going through it. And we want to just create this safe space where people can just openly talk and not get judged, because it's okay. Like, I remember at one point after I got diagnosed, I was just so angry at the world, and I kept on crying because I was so grateful to be alive. However, I was so pissed off at the world for letting me have cancer at what I would consider a youngish age. I felt robbed of a significant portion of my life. Like, this is shit, basically.
It feels like your world is put on hold and everyone else's keeps spinning. And then you get to this point where me and Amy are both at, where you're actually trying to slot back in. You know, I'm going back to work soon, and it's like a completely different situation from where I left. And it's like all my friends are getting married, getting houses, and I'm sat here going, cool. Yeah, I'm restarting again.
Sorry, the statistic. So 70% of people deal with ongoing physical or psychological effects after the treatment. And did you feel that, you know, things got harder after the treatment, different the way of, you know, of when you started the treatment?
You definitely feel more tired. So with radiotherapy, you can end up with delayed side effects. You end up with these permanent issues. I've got peripheral neuropathy in my hands and feet from where
What's that, Sally? Do you mind explaining?
So the drug that I was on last year, it's called Taxol, is renowned for causing issues like neuropathy. And basically, it's not the fact it's attacking your hands and your feet, it attacks your central nervous system. So it's like I've got pins and needles or lack of sensation in my hands and feet. And it is getting better, but it can be a lifelong effect.
Mine was a very rare side effect, in which I had my stroke, which was a direct cause of chemotherapy giving me sticky blood. And that's what caused my brain bleed, because my brain was trying to shift the blood clot, but then it ended up hurting itself and bled.
So something that was supposed to help you with the cancer actually caused you to have a stroke.
Yeah, I nearly, like, cancer was bad, but the treatment very nearly killed me.
Like, this is very, very rare. Keep doing your meds, keep taking your meds. These drugs are tested and proven to help and cure. Chemo was described to me as a toxic friend. It's trying to help you the best it knows how. But, it's going to get it wrong sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's got your best interest at heart.
Absolutely. Please listen to doctors. Please listen to what the professionals are telling you. Mine was a very rare side effect. And again, I don't want that to be off-putting to anybody. And we are an association that do not agree with home remedies. Sure enough, if you want to change something in your lifestyle, your diet, by means, go for it. But don't believe these ones that saying if you drink a pint of vinegar a day, it's going to cure your cancer.
And
We do
always
condone
talk
that.
to your oncologist, because there's certain things that will trigger a different response. Even stuff that you put on your skin can mix badly. There's actually a spa near where I live that do a chemotherapy friendly spa day, because they're aware that people are going to want to relax and have a treat day, but there's certain things they can't have on their skin.
Going back into the support after treatment, as per my research, only 30% of people that battled cancer feel that their emotional needs were fully supported. Did you feel supported after the treatment, or did you just kind of stopped?
I mean, personally, I had some counselling directly after through Cancer Care, which is a great charity. However, I decided to stop after a few sessions because basically we were getting off topic of cancer, and I think it's one of these that it is life affecting, but you have to just work through. I actually felt a lot more comforted talking to Sally, who is in a similar age range, or, I'm mentally, since cancer, I've developed this strange thing. I've now got a double chin.
I always had one without
But
cancer.
I've put on over 2 stone in weight since I had my cancer, and I've lost my body.
You're not prepared for it, though, are you? Well, it's not like you've been there, done that before. It's all new. We made a whole shabam about it. We bought a pregnancy belly cast kit, and we did a full chest cast. We did it the night before my surgery. It was me, my mum's best friend, my mum, and we were just stood in the kitchen, and I'm just covered in plaster cast, laughing, thinking this time tomorrow I'm going to feel like crap. But it was a really good way to say goodbye. And I don't actually miss them that much. It's little quirky things. Nothing prepares you for the things that are going to affect you either. I went out shopping with one of my friends and I tried on some dresses, and everything in mainstream shops has got darts in it. So it's like designed for boobs. And yes, you can get prosthetics and all the rest of it. But I don't want to go down that route because it's just not true to me and not true to the ethos I've been following. And I was trying these dresses on. Wow, that's perfect. That's great. The material was sagging, or so I'm lucky enough that I know how to sew, so I've been making myself clothes that fit my new body. But it's quite a challenge, and I can imagine for a lot of people that it's kind of, you go from having all these nice clothes that fit you really well, exactly how you want, to then going, this is a bit, I used to love this t-shirt, or I used to love this, and you don't have that anymore. And there's like showing your partner for the first time. It's like, how do you describe that to someone? Unfortunately for me, cancer changed me so much that my relationship did fold, so to speak, because I no longer want kids. I don't want to get married. My priorities and everything has changed. And a big thing for me with the kids is not wanting to pass the gene on, and also being so scared of the reoccurrence of, if I had kids, it's not fair for them to have to see me go through it and I wouldn't be able to look after them.
So there is on the research is the identity and life impact that cancer gives, and most people say is about the identity, the fear of reoccurrence, and the feeling of loss, after the treatment, and exactly what you guys are saying is like there is no one really talks about that part. And, that I think that for what you described to me, a peer-to-peer type of therapy, which is what Mosh Against the Malignant is doing, isn't it? It's like that support of someone that's been through it.
We're not professionals. We're not claiming to be counselors, therapists. So it blows my absolute mind that we've got now journalists, you guys wanting to chat with us. I think my brain is literally, I think I might cry when I see somebody in a Mosh Against the Malignant shirt at download.
Well, I'll be buying one. I'll be buying one, and I'll be wearing it proud. So don't you worry about that.
And
Something
make
that has really helped is having the page, having people to talk to, having something positive to put your time into, instead of just staring at the ceiling.
I think in a lot of cancer groups in particular, they talk about death so much. And I always find it really depressing. But then you come onto our page and you're reading these stories of inspiration. Obviously, death it goes along with cancer, unfortunately. But if we can help it, because cancer does not mean a death sentence. My friend Pabs, I met at Download 03 along with Jim. He thought he'd beaten it. He'd been told he'd beaten it, and then it got to his brain. And I only met him for 5 days at Download 03, and honestly, I mean, Evanescence, My Immortal, is already a sad song. Reminds me of Pabs every time, and Witchcraft by Pendulum. So if you see me at Pendulum having a bit of a cry, I'm thinking of Pabs.
It's hard to deal with death, because I think with cancer as well, it comes with, you make friends with the people that are going through the same thing as you, and some survive, some don't. And you're dealing with your own loss of your identity, of, having to redo all your life, but you're also losing new friends that you're making and then you bond with. So you have to deal with a lot of loss when you are going through the treatment, or even after the treatment, isn't it? Yeah. Now I want to talk a little bit about music as a coping tool for you guys. Yeah. So you mentioned music being everything. What role did it play during your treatment?
I mean, personally, I'm actually getting a bit of a redemption at this download directly after our meeting, because I had tickets to see Scene Queen 2 weeks after I had my surgery. And at that time, I was just so paranoid. Like, nobody was able to come like within 5 foot of me, because I just got so intensely paranoid that if anybody came into my little circle, my intestines were going to drop out and I'd be picking my intestines off the floor. Like, genuinely. So I'm really looking forward to Scene Queen. I think after our meet, if you see me hurrying to try and see Scene Queen, I'll be like, yay!
So if you could choose a chemo song or a treatment song, which one would you choose? Both of you.
Skindred, you got this. Every day.
Okay, what about you, Sally?
I'm a huge Don Broco fan, so seeing them at Download last year, and then they announced that they're bringing out new music, I was like, oh, what a time to be alive. And it was during my chemotherapy that they started releasing like the individual tracks from the album The Nightmare Tripping, and Hype Man came out, and I was like, ooh, hype. And I need a hype man. I've got chemo every week for the next 12 bloody weeks. I need a hype. But that entire album was just so much fun to listen to. Having something to look forwards to was knowing that they were bringing out this music, and they were bringing it out like a song here, a song there. And that really helped me get through it. So that entire album is now like so special to me, because it was then released. The full album was released fairly recently. I think it was at the end of March.
Yeah.
But the other music that kind of was really important to me was Sleep Token, because my mum so mum said, oh, I'll pick you up at this time. And the last song I listened to before I got diagnosed was Damocles. No one else knows that I've got a problem, and Come Up for Air and Choke on It All. Like, all of those, it's just such a good song. Like, lyrically, Sleep Token are just incredible. To then 10 days later stand there and hear it live. My download mates, so bless his cotton socks, Jason, absolute legend. Jason and his missus were literally just holding me up over the barrier because I was just gone. But it was just seeing them live, and Shinedown as well, symptom of being human.
What does the music give you in those moments that nothing else could give you?
For me, it's a way just to forget about the rest of the world. You know, in that moment, in a 3-minute song, it's encompassing. You can forget about everything that you're going through and just enjoy it.
Sally, what do you think that music brings it to you in those moments?
Music has always been something that has actually helped me communicate how I feel. It's been like I can find a song and I went, that's how I feel. That's how, and it can help me actually
Process your emotions.
process my emotions better. I will never forget there was this guy in the chemo ward who started blaring Linkin Park. And because he said, "Oh, guys, I forgot my headphones, but there's 3 of us left. Would you be all right if I play this out loud? You guys don't really look like the sort that would listen to it." And I kind of looked at him, and he kind of looked at me, and I didn't have a wig on. I didn't have anything that said metalhead. I just had my headscarf on and a comfy jumper. I was just sat there, fed up, and I just kind of looked at him. I was like, "Where's this going to go?" And then he starts playing Numb and What I've Done by Linkin Park. And there was me, him, and one of the chemo nurses just screaming at the top of our lungs. And it was just such an experience. And in that moment, music actually brought us together. I've written a lot of music about my experience as well. I'm only just being able to play guitar again because of the hand stuff, because I can't feel the strings. But it's not only given me new music to listen to, it's given me new things to write about. And hopefully, like that song made me feel not alone, I can do the same in the future and do something that will make someone not feel alone musically as well. Because music is such a beautiful language. You tell someone you love them, you can tell someone you hate them, you can say goodbye to someone, all just through 4 chords and a...
Yeah, but music can be very deep. So now I want to bring us something that is a little bit more lighter. And I want you to tell each one of your stories. What was the funniest or most unexpected moment throughout your treatment and post-treatment? Or what was the funniest, Ames?
Because I just generally think I'm funny at all times, but I do like using the cancer card to get free drinks.
Oh, I've never done that.
I remember I was watching, I'd gone to see my beloved Birmingham City play, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just here on my own. It's the first time I've been able to go to a game because, I've had cancer and all that. Next thing I know, I'm getting myself a double Disaronno and Coke. I'm like, quid's in, blood. But I have to say, one of the greatest things about having cancer is actually meeting Sally. Like, she inspires me every day, and I haven't actually met this girl yet, but I'm pretty sure...
We were meant to meet on the 11th of April, but somebody went and had a seizure.
I'm sorry, my nearly dying is such an inconvenience to you, bitch. Sally is somebody that we do often joke about having cancer because, our nicknames for each other is like, she's titless, I'm gutless. And other people don't get it, but because we're in that situation, I hate to tell you, cancer victims also do sometimes have a sense of humor.
Yeah, you have to, isn't it? What about for you, Sally?
This is there's loads of funny moments during treatment, but actually recently was probably one of my most embarrassing, but also kind of funny moments. So obviously, relationship came to an end, all the rest of it. I went to the pub with, I believe it was me and just a couple of friends, really. We just went out and I was really excited to be out and about. Anyway, so this bloke starts kind of talking to me, going, not seeing you, blah, 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 just small talking. And I just looked at him, I've got no tits. That was my first words to him. He's like going, so you look really nice. Blah, blah, blah. I've got no tits. And he went, right. I was like, I don't want kids. I don't want to get married. And this is just the first things that are coming out my mouth. And I've gone, oh my God. And he just looked at me and went, right. would you like to start again? I was just... And I think one of my favourite memories during treatment is being asleep on the sofa a lot. So my nephew was 3 at the time, and he's come running in, and he's walked up to me, he's gone, "Why are you always on the sofa?" I was like, "'Cause I am, because I'm sleepy." Like, he knew that I wasn't right, but we didn't kind of go into massive amounts of detail with him. And we just kept saying that I wasn't very well. And he was like, "You're really lazy. You're always on the sofa." I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Thanks, mate. Yeah, no, I'm lazy. I'm your lazy auntie." And with the chemo curls coming through, he started calling me Auntie Sheep. Because without the wig, I've got these chemo curls that are everywhere. Me and my mum are trying to think of some way to describe curly hair to him. We're like, like a sheep. And I've gone, "No." And he's gone, "Auntie Sheep."
And then the next bit I want to ask you guys is messaging to everyone listening to us, to the listeners. If someone is going through this right now, getting the results and all the stuff that you guys went through, what would you say to them?
I would say that you are not alone. You now have a community that is full of love and acceptance. And please do not bottle anything up. And please come and follow Mosh Against the Malignant on Facebook or our website and buy some merch because, you're really going to help others. Like, me and Sally are both in agreement that talking about and everything is so important, for your own mental health, for, again, prevention. And we try and be as honest as we both, believe that we can genuinely help others by doing it, even if it's just being aware of symptoms or, we just want to be completely ourselves. And please just know that you're not alone because unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are going through cancer.
Do not bottle things up and be selfish. Do not push yourself. I did. I will put my hands up. I've bottled it up. I put a mask on because I didn't want anyone to worry. And in the long run, it's done more damage than accepting what was in front of me. And you just be open, be selfish. If you don't want to go and see someone, don't go and see someone. If you just want to lay in bed for 3 weeks, lay in bed for 3 weeks. If you don't feel up to something, don't force yourself, don't do it. There are some things that we have to do, but if you really can't do something, then say it. Don't force yourself to do it and knacker yourself out. I was prone for doing that. I'd be like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine to do that. Don't. And then it would make it worse. And if you need help, ask for it, because as much as there are limited things in certain areas, there's always the buddy up system with Macmillan. They're not professionals. They're just like us. They're people that have been through it. Just ask for help from whether it's your GP. If you need to go on antidepressants, go on antidepressants. There is no shame in admitting that you're in it for the long haul. It's not just treatment. It's not just radio. It's not just surgery. It's your life. And you will lose people, and that's fine. If they don't understand you and they want to walk away, don't fight for it because they're not worth your time.
Yeah, you guys are amazing. What I want to say is that you both are very inspirational to me. The way you see music inspires me because, music has always been a big thing for me as well. So well done. Well done to being so open, and not
Because your
bottling
life
things up.
changes doesn't mean it's over.
Yes, and it is just what you're doing with Mosh Against the Malignant is impressive, is amazing, and I can't wait to be supportive of you guys. Can't wait to see you guys on downloads. You know what I mean? And then be able to actually take a picture in person with all of you. So well done, you both. Honestly, it's amazing what you guys doing. Is there anything else you guys want to, let people know?
Just want to say something about the colon cancer thing. Is just that please don't be embarrassed by poo. Everybody laughs and jokes because poo jokes are hilarious, but it is vitally important. Like, if you're having changes or blood or pain, please don't be embarrassed. Basically, don't be embarrassed by any symptoms because your body is trying to talk to you. Your body is trying to tell you a message. And if you fear anything, please go see a doctor, especially in the UK where we don't have to pay. Like, come on, use
Yeah.
those services.
You know,
Yeah.
do the monthly checks. We've shared some of the how to check yourself videos, whether it's breast cancer or testicular. Don't miss your smear tests. Men can get breast cancer too. There's some really good videos online about how to check breast cancer in men. You know, there's been people posting on our group. There's a bloke that had a double mastectomy because he had genetic breast cancer. And that's something that's not talked about enough. But, you know, check on the first of the month, check when you're in the shower, see if you've got any lumpy or bumpies or, you know, and it's the same with like prostate exams. Okay, yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's worth it because it could save your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Anything you want to add on, Chris?
So, yeah, we've done a deep episode. Obviously, 1 in 2 people are affected by cancer all over the globe, including myself, family members affected. Obviously, affects other family members as well through the loss. So, yeah, if you're watching this, listening to this, we're going to put all the links on to Mosh Against the Malignant. You can watch the videos, you can have a chat to them. And yeah, I'd like to thank both Tipless and Gutless for joining our podcast today. Cheers, Sally. Cheers, Amy. And yeah, turn it up. Let's talk. And we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
It's been a
guys.
privilege.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.